Okay, so because foreigners always ask the question, let's talk about a fideicomiso first. Let me explain what that is. In simplest terms, a fideicomiso is a bank trust that allows you to invest in Mexican property, any Mexican property, within what's called the restricted zone, and own it as a beneficiary. And its main purpose is to give you all the rights that any real estate ownership bestows on you, while a Mexican bank actually holds legal title to it as your trustee. It's like fee simple ownership here in the States, meaning the bank simply holds the property for you in a trust, just like our property in the U.S. is held inside of a trust in the U.S. And just like the U.S., representing your interest is really the ultimate and only responsibility that the bank has as a trustee. Now, like any trust, there are three parts of the fideicomiso, three parties, I should say, and that's the trustor, that's the seller, the owner of the property that you're buying it from, and he's called a fideicomiente. There's the trustee, that's the bank or the fiduciario, and there's the beneficiary, and that's you, the fideicomissario. And they're termed, each one of the fideicomisos is termed at 50-year increments, so you have to renew them every 50 years. And just like any title trust, your fideicomiso gives you the right to live there. You can lease, sell it, improve it, bequeath it. You can pretty much do whatever you want with it. You can encumber it, anything you want to do because it's your property, as long as it's legal, of course. And again, just like the American trust does, very little difference. And you can also mortgage it if you want to. Like if you want to improve or borrow money against it to pay bills, all you have to do is set up a guarantee trust for it. In other words, it's up to you exactly how you want to use the property. Nobody can tell you what to do with it because it's your property. Now, when you're creating your fideicomiso, I always recommend that you name a co-beneficiary first, just like in the U.S., because if you unexpectedly die, the person you name in the fideicomiso as your co-beneficiary, well, he or she can avoid probate court, just like here in the U.S., and you don't have to pay another sum to set up another fideicomiso. It's automatic. It transfers directly to your named person, your named beneficiary. It's like the kids are our co-beneficiaries if my wife and I should somehow leave this paradise early that we don't want to do. And the one issue that always comes up, I always hear it, what if the bank goes belly up? What if it becomes insolvent? In common terms called bankruptcy. Do I lose my property? And the answer is absolutely not. The law specifically and irrevocably prohibits any bank from listing any fideicomiso, yours or anybody else's, for which it's responsible as one of its assets. It's not their asset, it's your asset. Just like here in the U.S. It's your asset. The bank simply holding it for you is your employee, so to speak. Now, if that happens, which I said is really unlikely, what are you going to do? Just like here in the U.S., you're going to transfer it to another bank. That's all. Just name another bank, and it's done. Now, as more and more people are doing these days, you're always going to be able to end the need for a fideicomiso and hold your property in your own name after you've lived here for a period of 5 years by becoming a Mexican citizen. Because remember, Mexican citizens don't require fideicomisos. Well, especially with retirees like us, and there's sometimes more favorable tax brackets here in Mexico. More and more Americans like us are going to apply for, or already have applied for, dual citizenship these days, Mexico and U.S. You don't have to relinquish one for the other, remember that. Okay, so now that you understand what it is and what it isn't, and what a fideicomiso actually does, how much is it going to cost you? $3,000 to $5,000. And I know what you're going to say, it sounds like a lot, but you know what? It's really not. If you've ever bought a home in the U.S. and seen everything that's involved in setting up one of our trusts, hire attorneys and the bank fees and everything else, it's by the time you get finished, it's pretty much what we call a zero-sum game. Not to mention the fact that the closing costs here are typically not what they are in the U.S. So as I said, it's a wash. And yes, I'll explain all the costs associated with it in an upcoming video called The Cost of Paradise here. Okay, so let's say you found your piece of paradise and you know what a fideicomiso is and you want to move down here. What do we do? Well, let's start the process. Let me talk about that coming up next. But please, before that, please, don't forget to hit the like button here. It's really the only other way that people will ever know that we're here to help them understand everything that's involved in coming here without being charged an arm and a leg like some of these websites I see do. Remember, we don't make a dime. We don't make anything from this channel, and your likes are really the only thing that keeps it from being a big waste of time. There are a lot of folks out there who are counting on us. You for your likes, and us to give them unqualified, accurate counsel.